Derek did everything right. College degree, 16 years of work experience, clean record. Then he opened his laptop and applied to over 100 jobs, 100 different companies. One single screening system standing between him and any interview. 100 rejections. No interviews, no calls. Not a single human being who had ever seen his name. And the system doesn't tell you why, because it was never built to explain itself. What if that was your name? Derek sent out 100 applications, 100 rejections. 0 human beings ever saw his name. How does a faceless system do that? And what happens when it finally goes to trial? What happened to Derek has a name: Applicant Tracking System, a TS. Think of it as a digital gatekeeper that never sleeps, never has a bad day, and can eliminate you for using the wrong word. 99% of Fortune 500 companies use ATS. The problem isn't the speed. The problem is what the system learns to reject. ATS is trained on historical hiring data. Decades of decisions made by human beings. If those humans hired mostly men from elite universities with no gaps in employment, the algorithm learns that's the right profile, and it starts penalizing everything that deviates. Employment gaps, non-Anglo names, unknown schools, different file formats, no conscious judgment, no declared intent, just pattern recognized and silent rejection. And the data that proves the real scale of this problem comes from somewhere you wouldn't expect. Harvard Business School. I'll show you that data in detail. But first, you need to know Derek properly. But the case that's going to change everything you believe about this system happened to one specific person, a man who spent 16 years building a career, who sent out 100 applications, and who, without knowing it, was challenging a system that may be responsible for the rejection of thousands of people. His name is Derek Mobley, and his case went to federal court. Derek Mobley is over 40 years old. He's black. He has a disability, and he has a degree from a historically black college. To a human being, those characteristics are irrelevant for most corporate roles. To an ATS, they're data points. The algorithm can't legally ask your age, your race, or about your disability. But it can use proxies, indirect signals that function as substitutes. Your graduation year reveals your age. The name of your institution suggests your race. The results of personality tests can flag a cognitive disability. The system never asked any of that directly, but it inferred all of it and said no 100 times. Derek filed a lawsuit. Workday is one of the largest ATS providers in the world, embedded in virtually every sector of the American economy. And in a July 2024 ruling, a federal court recognized that a technology vendor can be held liable as an agent of the employer. The court said, Workday's role in the hiring process is no less significant for happening through artificial intelligence than it would be if a human being were sitting at a table manually reviewing resumes. That changes everything. But Derek isn't the only one. And here's the detail that's going to make you think about your own resume. But Derek isn't the most revealing case. The most revealing case was built by the largest e-commerce company in the world. They built the system, trained the system, let the system run for years, and when they discovered what it had learned, they tried to delete everything. Because what it learned might look a lot like what happened to your CV. If you've ever had an application rejected with no explanation, share it in the comments. The strongest stories may become episodes and help expose the system. Remember that Harvard data I promised? A Harvard Business School study, conducted across more than 2,000 executives in 8 countries, found this: 88%, and they choose to keep the system anyway. The same study estimates that 27 million workers in the United States are, in practice, invisible to the job market. Not because they're unqualified, because they don't pass the algorithm's filter. Now, let's talk about the concrete mechanism. 3 ways ATS eliminates qualified people without anyone noticing. First, employment gaps. Nearly half of American companies configure their ATS to automatically exclude any candidate with a break of more than 6 months on their resume. 6 months. That eliminates brothers who stepped back to care for a child, veterans going through rehabilitation, cancer patients in treatment, children who put everything on hold to care for an aging parent. The machine doesn't ask why. It just says, no. Second, keyword matching. A TS compares your resume to the job description using literal matching, not semantic. The difference between project manager and project coordinator can be enough to make you disappear from the pile entirely. Third, the Amazon case. In 2014, Amazon began building an AI system to screen resume. The goal was simple: give every candidate a score of 1 to 5 stars and automatically surface the best talent. The system was trained on 10 years of resumes Amazon had received. Because tech is a male-dominated industry, the vast majority of those resumes came from men. The algorithm learned that male resumes were the template for success, and it started penalizing any resume that contained the word women's, not the concept, the word. Captain of the women's chess team. Score drops. President of the Women's Entrepreneurship Club. Score drops. Any reference to an all-women's college. Score drops. Amazon tried to fix the problem. It couldn't. The system was scrapped in 2017. What I don't know, and neither will you, is how many other companies found the same problem and said nothing. From a risk governance perspective, which has been my field for 16 years, this has a precise technical name: liability laundering. The company hires the ATS vendor. The vendor says the system is neutral. Nobody audits the model. Nobody is responsible for the outcome. And the candidate can't challenge something they don't know exists. Until now. This is one of the shadow structure that operates on your career without your knowledge. If you want to see what happens when the system doesn't evaluate your resume, it evaluates your face. Subscribe. The next investigation. The invisible interview. Before I show you the scale of this, I need to talk to you directly. If you've ever applied for a job through an online platform and never heard back, no rejection, no explanation, just silence. It may have been the ATS, and you'd have no way of knowing. Now let me show you this isn't just theory. The Workday case isn't isolated. It's the beginning of a wave. In 2023, the US government filed its first lawsuit over AI-based discrimination in hiring. The company, iTutor Group. The problem: the software automatically rejected women over 55 and men over 60. No human review, no appeal possible. In March 2025, the ACLU filed a formal complaint with the EEOC and the Colorado Civil Rights Division. At the center, DK, a Pawnee and deaf woman, Intuit employee for several years, outstanding performance reviews, annual bonuses. The complaint alleges that when DK applied for an internal promotion, Intuit required her to complete a video interview through HireVue. DK had previously alerted Intuit's own accessibility team about the platform's limitations for deaf applicants. The warning was ignored. She requested real-time human captioning as an accommodation. According to the complaint, Intuit denied it. Research cited in the complaint shows that speech recognition systems transcribe incorrectly, 1 in every 2 words spoken by deaf users. The feedback DK received after being denied the promotion: needs to practice active listening. She is deaf. She had warned them. According to the complaint, the assessment evaluated her on a capacity she doesn't have and never will. Production. Note: HireVue and Intuit deny the allegations. HireVue states its AI assessment was not used in this specific process. The ACLU disputes this. Case active. Narrate as allegations throughout. Regulation is coming. New York City already requires an annual audit of any automated decision tool used in hiring. That's Local Law 144, in effect now. Colorado passes similar legislation in 2026. The EEOC has said explicitly, companies cannot outsource their legal responsibility to algorithms. The regulatory movement is real, but the most effective pressure, historically, doesn't come from regulators. It comes from visibility. I'm going to give you what most videos about ATS don't. What to actually do with this right now. If you're applying for jobs, 1. Tailor every application. Use the exact keywords from the job description. ATS runs on literal matching. 2. Remove tables, columns, and graphics from your resume. The ATS parser can't read complex layouts and silently drops entire sections. 3. Apply within the first 48 hours. Many recruiters process in order of arrival and close the search after a few hundred resumes, with the job still posted. 4. Test whether you were filtered or actually rejected. If you applied through an online platform and received a rejection in under 24 hours, that was the ATS, not a human. No recruiter reads 200 resumes in an hour. If the rejection came too fast, the system never actually saw you, and that changes what you do next. If you hire people, the legislation is coming. The Workday precedent opened the door to class actions at scale. New York City already penalizes. Colorado will penalize. The question is no longer whether you'll be audited. It's when. Auditing your system now costs a fraction of defending a class action later. And the final detail I've been saving for the end. The system filtering resumes, whether Amazon's, Workday's, or any unaudited vendors, was never built to discriminate. It was built to learn. And it learned from decades of imperfect human decisions. The result isn't a bug, it's a mirror. Remember Derek from the beginning of this video. In May 2025, The federal court certified the nationwide class action. Workday itself stated that 1.1 billion applications were processed through its platform during the relevant period, meaning the collective could potentially include millions of people. The system that said no to him is, for the first time, being judged. When Derek clicked Submit for the 100th time, he thought he was talking to companies. He was actually talking to a single system, a system with no name, no face, and no one you can confront in a conference room. But now it's on trial, and his name is on the case. What happened to Derek isn't an isolated incident. It's the hidden pattern of the modern job market. When you click Submit on your next application, you're not sending your story to people. You're feeding it to the same kind of system that rejected Derek. Shadow Structures investigates the systems that shape your life without you ever seeing them. This is one more system that operates in the shadows and that you now know about. The ATS filtered what you wrote on paper. It never saw your face. In the next investigation, what happens when the system does see your face? An AI platform used by Unilever, Goldman Sachs, and Delta Airlines says it can analyze up to 25,000 data points per candidate. Your facial expressions, your vocal patterns, the microseconds you pause before answering. None of that was on your resume. All of it was scored. The invisible interview. Next. If you've ever wondered why the system seems rigged against you, it might be. Send this to someone who's still applying in the dark. Hundreds of millions of people may have been filtered out by the same system. Most still don't know, and the algorithm counts on that.